If there's one thing that really bothers the narcissist about you, it's your ability to have love for yourself, that self love, and also your ability to have unconditional love for others and things generally. The fact that you can feel comfortable in your skin and open up that inner part of you that makes you human, and also that part of you that makes you vulnerable, is what really separates narcissists against people who don't have that self loathing nature where they have to project negativity to make up for it. And narcissists, because the fact that you do have the ability to love yourself and have love toward other people, it really injures the narcissist because they want to be able to feel the same things you do, but they don't know how to. For them, accepting the feeling of love in any way is too vulnerable. When they open up their heart, when they open up that kind of, I suppose what the Buddhists might call the heart chakra, and just kind of keep that open in other parts of yourself as well, narcissists feel too vulnerable. When they do that, they feel like they might revisit those childhood wounds, the the pain they suffered with their caregivers. They feel like that pain might come to the surface and affect them now. So they permanently shut off the parts of them that really make them human. And that's why narcissists are like these robots. They all follow a very similar manual. It doesn't really matter what type of narcissist they are. It doesn't really matter what their underlying personality is. There's a predictable pattern in their thoughts, attitudes, behaviors, and energy, which you see in people who shut that inner part of themselves off because it's the only way they can live what they consider to be a normal life is following this instinctive manual where they're too afraid to be vulnerable. And so they don't let themselves have the normal range of human emotions, but then they become this cold, kind of reptilian nature, very robotic and predictable. But going back to you, of course, it might have been the way that you focused upon them, the way that you focused your attention, your energy, the way that you opened up to them. Those might have been the things that really drew them to you at the beginning. And it might have even made them feel good, kind of homely. It might have made them feel whole, even, because they were, in a way, sponging off certain parts of your energy, which are the things which they lack. But by associating with that, at least for a little while, it made them feel whole. It made them feel better. It almost made them feel complete because there were certain things about you were rubbing off them, rubbing off onto them. And those things about you that were rubbing off onto them are the things which they can't produce themselves internally. But because narcissists also have a couple of other traits, one is they're very competitive against the people around them, especially the people that are close to them. They're very competitive against those people. And also, they have to feel like they're better than the people around them, and that any trait that the people around them have, they need to have it better. So, what narcissists do in time is that they start to observe these things about you. And instead of just benefiting from your positive traits by association, they soon start to feel this kind of resentment towards you. They have this steady grow of resentment against you because you're displaying certain things that, while at first it made them feel good about themselves, later on it just magnifies their self-awareness of what they're lacking, and they can't really process that awareness piece of what they're lacking. So they try to shut it off. And what that means is because they can't really accept the parts they're lacking, they have to shut off the object, in this case, you. You're the one who's triggering their self awareness and they can't process it. So that what they have to do is they have to slowly kill those positive traits in you. You know, your ability to focus on them in a positive way, your ability to show self love towards yourself and towards them. They have to kill those traits and that goodness because that's the only way where they can live with themselves. And what that means is they they start doing certain things to make you feel bad about yourself. They start doing certain things to make you feel ashamed of yourself. They want to make you feel like the best parts of you are actually not that good. They want you to think that your biggest strengths are actually weaknesses. And then they do things. And if you still love them despite the negative things they do to you, they will outright do something to even degrade themselves. You know, they'll do things. They'll, they might, if it's a romantic setting and, you're somebody, let's say, who's very kind of high value, let's say you're very attractive, they'll even go and kind of get with somebody or focus a lot of attention on somebody who's a much lower value than you, much less attractive. And things what's going on there is they're trying to make you believe that you're worthless because they're focusing their attention on somebody else who on paper is pretty worthless. And if they prefer that person over you, then how must that make you feel? A narcissist would do things to really even degrade themselves, because what they're trying to do is, when they're trying to punish you and when they're trying to get away from this feeling of self-awareness of what they're lacking, because your positive traits have triggered that self-awareness in them, which they can't process, is they'll just do certain things to make you they'll try to make you hate them. Ultimately, narcissists want you to hate yourself and they want you to hate them. And by getting you to hate yourself and by getting you to hate them, what they're trying to do is they're trying to pollute your energy fields. They're trying to pollute kind of your inner self. They're trying to create in you this self-loathing, self-hatred, which is where they reside, which is what they feel all the time. And ultimately, they're just trying to feel better about themselves, because the way they see it, if they can punish you enough, devalue you enough, cheat on you enough, triangulate you enough, push you away from the good things, isolate you enough, use up your resources, whether financial or otherwise, they think they might be able to make you hate them and hate yourself sufficiently such that they feel better than you, but by comparison. And for them, the closest thing a narcissist will ever feel to self-love is being in a position where there was somebody who once had the ability to self-love, and they managed to put that person down so far where that person's in a more negative space than the narcissist, or at least in an equally negative space as a narcissist. The moment they take you down to their level or below, they feel like they've won. They feel what they consider to be self-love, because now, if they're doing better than you, somebody who they, have this deep-rooted admiration for, even though they won't admit it, then that must mean they're worthy. Their ego skyrockets. They feel blissfully good about themselves. Of course, it's all pretty short-lived until they need to take you down again or take other people down. But the thing is, they try to keep you down as long as possible and take you down as many times as they can, because they want to feel self-love. They don't know how to feel self-love. And the closest way they can feel something that even remotely resembles self-love from their perspective is to take you down.